understanding the concepts, and creating a future vision. In order to realize these functions effectively, you need to focus on many levels of classroom management. This starts with an assessment of what your classroom looks like now and your vision of how you want it to look in the future. When you first get assigned to a school which has or should have multi-grade teaching, it is essential to take time to gain a clear understanding of the context of your multi-grade classroom. You can start by asking yourself the following questions. Where is your school located? And how far do your students travel to get to school? If you are assigned to a mountainous area and all of your students must travel an hour to get to school, you must ask their parents or guardian where they live and how much time it takes to travel for you to know the situation. And as a teacher, we have to consider these things. What grades are you teaching? What age and ability range is in your classroom? And how might you best work with and take advantage of a wide range of ages and abilities? If you are teaching 1, 2, and 3, a teacher must know their age and determine the student's capabilities by observing the student and evaluating what they can do. To best address each child's needs and support their skills, we must first observe children closely and spend time with them to develop an authentic, caring relationship. What kinds of family background do your students came from? What is their economic status? Mostly, the families that are generally found in rural areas are joint family, has a common lifestyle and old customs and traditions. So you must adopt this kind of society for you to be able to socialize with them. As we all know, rural areas are characterized by a great diversity, and the major economic activities of rural area are agriculture, running small shops, tailoring activities, laborer, and etc. The economic problems related to rural areas are inability to adopt high-cost technology and low income. As a teacher, you have to do the basic version in teaching, such as making lessons interesting without the uses of technology, and also provides visual aids and especially encourage students to learn. What language do your students speak at home? How well do they understand and speak the national language? What might you do to ensure they learn what they need to learn in the language you use in the classroom? The first step toward teaching students to speak a language well is to understand its proficiency. Once it is the central focus in the classroom, the teacher must spend time to the students on all modes of communication. But to achieve the communicative practice they need, the solution is simple. The less the teacher speaks, the more students do. Think about the students in rural areas. They use these languages, which is a How many have had some kind of preschool experience? What can you do to help those who have not had experience? If it is your first teaching job, you will have some great days and some will be more challenging. In order to teach effectively, you have to be prepared and organized. This means having materials ready for whole group 1, 2, and 3. Establish a regular routine and schedule. Keep whole group gathers short and remember that children have varied attention spans and learn through play and active engagement. You must balance active and quiet times, as well as child-initiated and adults.
Do any of your students have special education needs in regards to physical or cognitive disability? What can you respond to these needs? The teacher of multigrades must give a response on this problem to avoid complication in the future. For example, the teacher Mary has 12 students with different grade level. One of her students has a poor eyesight and the other one is a slow learner. I will respond in this kind of situation through giving special activities to the slow learner so that he or she could able to understand the lesson, while the students that has poor eyesight I will place her or his in front so that he could or she could easily see the writing in the blackboard, and also she could focus on the lesson. So what resources do you have to make the classroom and schoolwork better? The teacher of multigrade must consider the materials that are available or provided on that school. Alangan naman magpatanaw kag video sa YouTube kay lagi applicable sa imong lesson. You must consider the materials like TV or internet connection is available on that classroom. If naa, go for it. If wala, the teacher of multigrade must be resourceful enough to use the materials that can or could help students to learn more using only the available materials in school. According to the national, perhaps local curriculum should be taught to each grade. And how well have your students learned the curriculum so far? The multigrade teacher must follow the flow of curriculum to avoid confuse. The multigrade teacher teach all of her or his students at the same time. The lesson should be the same but different level in difficulties. For example, teacher Mary teach addition to her class grade 1, 2, and 3. The teacher starts with the basic addition like 1 plus 3 equals 4, and later on move to 2 digits like 12 plus 12 equals 24. And if you think that your students of your lower level could able to add in their own, you could move to the 3 digits like 160 plus 140 equals 300, so on and so forth. To what extent do your head teacher, principal, and the other teacher in your school understand and practice multigrade teaching? If their understanding is limited, what can you do to increase support for your work? I will make a case study or propose a project proposal of this issue to the school administration, or invite them to my class for observation so that they could witness actual scenario of multigrade classroom. On that way, they realize that multigrade system is not easy and need to be supported. Do the parents of your children understand and support multigrade teaching? Again, if not, what can you do to help them understand the needs for such teaching? If the parents of the students had a doubt about this kind of teaching, as a multigrade teacher, I will conduct a meeting, and one of the agenda is to explain what is multigrade class is. Second, the benefits of students in multigrade class, the advantage and disadvantage of multi-grade class. I will let their parents decide for their children if they are willing and approve their children to go on this kind of setup, the multi-grade classes.
Create a vision in your mind about what you want for multi-grade classroom to look like. So once you have a good understanding of the students in your class, take time to create a vision in your mind about what you want your multi-grade classroom to look like. First, a welcoming, inclusive, healthy, protective, and child-friendly environment which help your students, most of whom have probably not had any preschool experience, feel comfortable in school and ensures that they do not drop out before completion of the primary school cycle. Second is a rich mixture of grade-appropriate and mixed grade teaching per learning through group work and peer works, personalized teaching, independent learning through tutoring and teacher and students interaction to make sure that all children learn about that no child is excluded from learning because of gender, language, poverty, disability, or any other reasons. Last is a disciplined classroom. A disciplined classroom with a harmonious learning environment which mixes structured learning, for example, for teaching science like arithmetic, reading, and writing, and also in unstructured learning like storytelling, singing, games, and etc.
Do some preparations before you start teaching. First is understanding the space in the classroom and the resources available for conducting classes. So, it is a crucial part of planning an effective multi-grade classroom is understanding and organizing its space so that it allows free movement and can be used for different activities by individual students, individual grades, and small groups. So, you will need to think about how your classroom can be divided into different areas. Second is deciding on the types of teaching methods and student activities possible in the space available given the number of students and grades in your classroom. So, you must create several areas for group discussion or activity and leave less space for one-on-one teaching and independent learning. Last is drawing a floor plan of the classroom with a setting plan that promotes your desired learning activities and shows the placement of furniture, books, materials, etc. So, you think about how you can create spaces for individual and group learning in such a way that students experience barrier-free access to the most used areas within the classroom as well as to the classroom resources and materials. So, shows one way you could arrange your classroom for effective multi-grade teaching. So, that's all. Thank you.